Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Why Did I Lose? The Prismata series in which I analyze viewer games and tell you why I think you lost. Today's submission comes to us from Xnor, and we're just going to jump right into the Masterbot analysis. Oh, you have to play. I already did load from replay, now I have to play. Okay. Xnor was playing in this game against Silene Undulata, a very strong player who I suspect would have beaten me in this set as well, so we will see. I haven't even looked at the set. I just, any set, she would probably beat me in it. But okay. Anyway, since we're about to get started, if you'd like to decide how you would play the set, now would be a good time to pause the video. Alright, welcome back. What do I think of this set? Well, I mean, what are like, in Prismata you can't like judge a unit in isolation, right? You can't say what is the strongest unit in Prismata, even though the answer is Arca, right, or Centurion or whatever. Even then there are sets where like those might for some reason just not be playable. It's pretty rare, but they can happen. And likewise, there are units which are often poor, but sometimes shine. ISO is an example. And so, you can't analyze units in isolation, but it can be a good starting point to look at this set and say, which of the units here are often good? Well, Bombarder is very strong. They're planning to nerf it. Dynamo is almost never skippable. It's just like it improves your economic opening at almost no downside, in almost regardless of what you plan to get to. And sometimes it can be the centerpiece of a strategy. If you want to get breach proof, this is a way to get rid of drones. So those are like the two standout units in the set. Actually, I'm gonna get confused if Dynamo isn't on one. These are the two standout units here. Grimbotch is also excellent. Here, I'm just the tiniest bit worried about Frostbrooder, but I think it's probably still fine to get Grimbotches. If you have to hold them a turn early or not hold them at all to deal with the Frostbrooder, it's not the end of the world, probably. Frostbrooder and Sentinel are fine. Grenade Mech's fine. Nevo is always stronger than I believe. I'm very bad with Nevo. And I remember a game on my channel that, we went into a ton of Bombarders, and my opponent had more green than I did. And I eventually won. But someone in the comments pointed out, if your opponent had bought 5 Nevos on this turn, you would have lost. And I was like, really? And I went and looked, and yep, 5 Nevos, that sure would have killed me. I forget the number. Was it 5? I don't know, but it was a lot. And I was just dead to that. So I missed chances to get good Nevos. And you could imagine some kind of breach-proof thing here with Dynamo, Nevo, ISO, and Gauss Cannon. Maybe even Grenade Mech? It's a little breach-proof, right? A good way to get into blue and then get out of blue? Maybe? But that's sort of like a... I guess I might say a secondary thing. What I'm looking at is what are the strong units in this set? These are the 3 strongest. Do they work together well? Yeah, they do, right? Dynamo just works well with anything, but Bombarder is a high-tech unit that wants you to have some way to spend extra red, and Bombarder or Grimbotch is a cheap way to spend red. So this is what I'm looking at very closely when I look at this set. This seems to be very good. And you can even since you'll have green, you can buy Sentinels instead of Botches on some turns if that's useful, right? It's $3 more expensive, but you get a lot more health out of it. So, worth considering. I say $3 because the green's basically $1. And so in a ranked game, by now I would be on turn 3 and I would be going for Botch, Bomber, Dynamo, maybe Sentinel, maybe Nevo. But, we have the luxury of time in these Why Did I Lose games, so we can look around. Is there something else going on? I think that the breach-proof thing with ISOs and Grenade Mechs and Dynamos is just not all that amazing. The amount of free soak, I mean not free, but you buy bombarders to like get burst attack, and then at the end you get soak out of it as well. And like the amount that you get is stupendous. And it's sort of hard to imagine a breach-proof player who's not benefiting from 3 absorb and 4 soak per turn would really be in such a great shape. Grenade mech is also kind of like a reasonable. At some point, you might like when you can't buy double blue anymore, you might tech down with a grenade mech or 2 and sell your blast forges off. I don't know. So most of the stuff here looks playable, although I doubt you'll get Frostbrooder because Bombarder is such a big soak thing. Maybe if your opponent's getting botches, it could be okay, but it wouldn't be that great. So I'm mostly looking at these top 4, maybe grenade mech. Economy size, I don't know. Bombarder, you really benefit from getting early. And so as little as 12 or 13 income per turn would probably be fine. It might be nice to get like 15 so you can keep droning while you do this. Because eventually Bombarder will slow the game down a lot, and you would like to have some spare drones left over, so you're not just like pouring everything into botches, bombers, and tarsiers. And then, you know, if both players manage to get Bombarder trains going, you'd sort of like to be able to drone up more to like 18 or 19 or something. So that's why I would like to aim for 15, but probably getting the first Bombarder is going to be more important than that. And you might very well compromise and get like a 12 drone Bombarder going. Right, Bombarder botch is going to be pretty oppressive. It's going to be hard for the other player to respond well to it. But it's $16 in tech, right? Kind of hard to get. And anyway, I'm obviously going to grab Dynamo because that's just like the thing to do when Dynamo's in the set. It's just fine. You get like free money. You get to tech up without having to invest. You get to drone up more without having to invest in a third. Excuse me, a third engineer. So I'd kind of like next turn to be able to BBA, and that's 16, right? 2 more drones together with that. Would be 22. So this is a line that, like, okay, it floats 7, but it floats 7 purposefully. I don't know, I guess I could just get the forge, right? But, like, I could just pre-buy those drones this turn? No, I can't. This is too many. I could do this. BBA. No, this is dumb. What am I doing? Why? Hello? What's going on? Right. A Dynamo is like buying 2 drones this turn, but you commit to buying a conduit next turn. And that's why I can't continue droning if I do this, is because, or I can't even, I can't get like drone Dynamo this turn, and then still go BB. Oh, I can. I can go BBA next turn. That sounds pretty good. I don't exactly want to spend my blue next turn, but I'd rather buy the forge now than float $5. This way, if I want to, maybe a wall will be useful. Maybe the opponent will get 2 Gauss cannons or something. It would be a bad play, but it would be nice to have insurance against that anyway. And my plan for next turn is just BA. Unless something surprising happens. If opponent gets Gauss cannons, I'll compromise with a wall, but that'll be fine because opponent compromised with Gauss cannons. ISOs are kind of interesting, actually. Because it means I won't really be in a position to just get a Bombarder next turn, I don't think. Like, if I did this, right? I could get Bombarder Rhino to, like, absorb a little bit, but presumably opponent will add a little bit of attack, right? So I think that that's the wrong idea. I should just get a splitter, and this is effectively 2 drones, right? Next turn I can still BA if I want, if opponent hasn't added any more attack. If opponent grabs like Gauss Cannons to go with this, it won't be such a great hardship to like Force Field plus BA or something, right? Yeah, so he does. You know what, though? Having clicked this Dynamo means I don't need a Force Field. I can actually wall. And I really hate that I can't click the Splitter to deal a damage. But I think it's worth it to get all this tech and grab a Bombarder on my opponent's ISO off turn. Sentinel? Yeah, opponent seems to be threatening, like, kind of a lot of just... I mean, damage is kind of like a boring thing to say, right? Of course opponent's threatening a lot of damage, right? Actually, maybe I can get a Rhino. This absorbs and lets me click the Splitter, which is kind of nice. I'm probably going to have to hold the Bombarder, which I don't like at all. Well, maybe I could click it. Opponent's going to attack for 9, maybe 10. If I click a Rhino... If I click all this, I'll have 3. 2 more walls is 9. A Force Field's 11. I could maybe do that. Just to, like, let me cash in the Bombarder a little bit. But on the other hand, how important is it to cash it in? Opponent's, like... kind of breach-proof-ish, like, so quite breach-proof. Doesn't really care that much about damage being delayed by a turn, and so it might be easier to only click Bombarder when opponent's not got the ISOs going. And it's pretty important that I get a Bombarder train going, because that's what justifies all of everything that I'm doing, right? So it would be really great if I can. I really want a Sentinel, though? I just hate that I can't spend the excess, not excess, the remaining red if I do this. I guess I could hold a Splitter, and then I don't need the Force Fields, and I can get a Botch. Next turn, I assume I'll click the Bomber. Which means I'll be attacking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. God, Masterbot is like a genius strategist. Look at this. I'm exactly unable to finish off this. He'll Force Field and have 2 health plus... Oh, 5. That's 7. Okay. I take it back. Masterbot isn't a brilliant strategist after all. So this is just enough to finish off a Dynamo next turn. Which I think is a pretty important breakpoint to hit. Alright, we gotta stop him buying more attackers. Or things are just gonna ramp up too fast for me. Oh, interesting. He didn't Force Field, he just got more ISOs. Well... I guess that means that I can hold the Splitter if I want, not have to get a wall, and I can grab another Bombarder that way. Now opponent's attacking for like 16, 19, but I have 7 lying around here. 4 more is 11, 13. A couple walls should do it. If I don't click the Bomber, which of course I'd like to do, but, you know, you take what you can get, I guess. This is a lot more convincing than I thought it would be. Maybe I should... Will I need the MGs next turn? Probably not, right? I can get a drone. Right, I'm only gonna getting attacked for like 6 or something, and I'll be holding back a bomber, probably. Oh, actually attacking with all this means I can kill an ISO. So I don't even need that force field. And I can get 1 NG. I don't need this, do I? If I want it, I can buy it next turn. I'll be fine. And next turn, it looks like I can attack for 4, 5, 6, 9. Which means this 1 damage is enough to finish off a Dynamo. Which I think is more important than working harder on ISOs. God, that is so many ISOs, though. Oh, whoops! I lost a... Huh. I didn't think about that. I have to lose the Bombarder absorb to absorb on Splitter instead. I guess that's worth it. Just to get that, right? I really would like another Bombarder, even if it means I have to absorb on Rhino this turn. I think it's worth it. Maybe one of these NGs could have been a drone. Like, I do have a Sentinel and a Bomber and a Grimbotch coming off this turn. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I'm not dead yet. I'm not nearly as far ahead as I hoped to be. How are opponents' attacker supplies, by the way? Out of ISOs. That's actually, like, kind of interesting. Out of ISOs and almost out of Gauss cannons, so that's an alternate victory condition. I guess. Boy, I really would like to get another bomber here, huh? How many force fields would it take? A lot. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I don't know if I can afford Sentinels. I think that we're kind of reaching a critical point in the game where, like, if I can just make it through the next few turns, I should be okay, and so the slow value of Sentinel may be worth less than the fast value of Grimbotch plus keeping my green. And getting these NGs right. Kidding me? I'm a damage short of killing off an ISO without clicking my bomber. I guess I can click this botch. I don't get the 2 health out of it, but I get to kill something that was going to do 2 damage, and that's just as good. Plus, I did damage, right? So I'm out of walls. Oh no. Oh no, Masterbot, please let me go. I mean, you know, that works, I guess. But that's the last time I get to buy a bunch of force fields. I can kill off the last dynamo, but then I don't get to absorb anything. I think it might be better to kill a Gauss Cannon, honestly. I'm gonna lose this game. I really didn't think that this, like, just ISO plus Dynamo is enough to be, like, competitive against Bombarders, much less destroy it in the way that it appears to be doing. Like, I'm just dead. I'm so dead. Right? Like, I can't build force fields, I can't build walls. The only prompt defense I have is rhinos. I have to also hold back a splitter to defend, which means that I'm not killing this ISO, right? Maybe I could do this. Hold 2 splitters instead of a bomber. 2 splitters and a botch. That defends. Seems extremely awful, but it defends. Yeah. And like, look at I don't have anything. I'm doing like 6 damage a turn. Oh, this is horrible. Alright, I guess you got me, Masterbot. Wow. Well, live and learn. Let's go see what Exnor and Silene Undulata got up to in this set. I hope the Bombarder player wins so that I can see what I did wrong. Okay, normal openings. Sure. A little greedy, it seems to me. But I guess maybe I wasn't greedy enough. Like, I couldn't regularly buy Bombarders because I was under too much pressure and didn't have enough econ for it. I don't know though, I feel like if I'd econed up more, our opponent would have just had even more attacks. So I'm kind of skeptical of this, but I did just lose against Masterbot, so, you know. Okay, she wants red. What? I see. Exnor here is thinking about becoming completely breach-proof, and in that context, a 4th drone is not as good as a conduit, because you can't easily turn that into a dynamo. It also seems like, what, we're gonna have 6 green? So if we click once, we'll have 3 green and 24 bucks. I'm just trying to see like what floating 3 buys us compared to like building a drone and then someday force fielding it or something, right? Like, we can only get 4 ISOs anyway. There's no way to get 5. I guess the drone takes away our ability to even get 4 ISOs. It limits us to just 3. Okay. Fine. So we want to buy 4 ISOs next turn, apparently. No. Dynamo and 3 ISOs. So I guess, like, what Silene has done so far that's noticeably different from what I did is she went Animus first. She didn't screw around with having 1 blue for a turn. And she got these 2 Tarsiers for sustain. And Sentinel over Botches. Which of course you would like to do, but I forget if I did. At any rate, we seem to be like... Oh, really? Okay, we're just gonna wait to sync everything up. But Silene's just continuing with, like, basically soak, right? These Bombarders and Sentinels are soak. The Bombarder's, of course, going to do a lot of damage. Getting to click them both on the ISO off turn is nice. But, like, I feel like their main purpose is soaking against all this ISO, like providing delayed soak against a bunch of ISOs. And we added a bunch of ISOs, which, I mean, if you're going to go for this line, that seems pretty good to me. I can't argue with that. That is a lot of Nevos. Holy cow. It does seem good, doesn't it? Wow. Is Silene just going to swing with everything and say your Nevos are dumb because they only hit Engineers? We get to reach for Tarsiers, but there aren't that many of them. Bombarders are exhausted. The Sentinels are close to exhausted. I predict she just doesn't defend this turn. Well, wrong again, huh? We get through. We don't get to kill much. By the way, we could have bought 1 more Nevo. I'm not totally sure why we didn't. Just we're worried about not having enough things to freeze, maybe? But it would have been kind of cool to kill, like, Tarsier Drone instead of that force field, for example. Wait, why did we get... We got a Gauss Cannon. Because it was off the ISO sync turn. Yeah? I mean, you don't exactly want to just float it for more ISOs. You can buy the last ISO on the next turn anyway. I guess the next best thing to do is add Gauss Cannons, and then on the next ISO turn, buy the rest of the Nevos or something is the idea. Interesting that we didn't even add the last ISO. Oops. Because, like, these 3 Gauss Cannons, what are they doing exactly? They're killing an Engineer. And then, you know, on the next ISO turn, they'll do something, but... You know, we invested 18 bucks this turn on killing an Engineer, and then later, you know, it'll be kind of useful. I don't know. Also... I think we froze wrong on this turn? Yeah, I think this was the wrong breach, right? You breached the largest targets. Froze the largest targets, but was it really worth letting opponent keep a Bombarder to get to a Tarsier? I'm not sure. Maybe we should have frozen Force Field instead of... Oh no, that doesn't do it. If you unfreeze the Bombarder, you can only freeze 2 health worth of stuff. Because there's no other 3s left. Huh. And so that would actually not be killing a bomber. Wow. So that extra Nevo, it seems like it would have been pretty cool. We could have frozen this force field instead of... Or like freeze force field and NG instead of bomber, maybe. And then we could kill a bomber? Or I don't know, I guess opponent would have just held a botch back. It wouldn't have been that big in a position, right? But that botch was doing important damage. I don't know. Anyway, we're about to lose all of the dynamos soon as well, which like makes me think these conduits are not super great. You're not going to have the money to spend. You're not going to be able to turn the green into money for long, and so you might consider just floating for like more Gauss cannons. Right, already you're sort of having trouble using the green. And now I think Silene's in the driver's seat. She's got so many used up bombarders. She's not doing a ton of damage, but we haven't managed to build 10 ISOs and 10 Gauss cannons either, right? Yeah. This one is over. Yeah, can't touch Silene, huh? Okay. Man, I mean, I don't know. I gotta say, you probably would have beaten me in this game based on how the Masterbot game went. Like, I went for what apparently was just a worse version of what Silene did, and I don't know. It kind of feels like what Masterbot did was a better version of what you did. Exnar? I'm not sure. Like, maybe your version just looks worse because it was up against stiffer opposition, right? Silene actually got bombarders out, and I couldn't really do that because I screwed around with blue earlier. I mean, I got a couple, but nothing to speak of, right? And that was like the thing that said to me that you could beat ISO breach proof. Is that Bombarder is going to be so good at soak, but I didn't get enough of them to really do something. Whereas Silene managed it by... Okay, well, in fairness to me, I was player one. Right? Silene didn't have... I didn't try to figure out what player two's build for Bombarders would be. Maybe in her seat I would have played the same line. Maybe. You know, it's possible. I would have tried, like, the same overall thing, but I don't know if I, like... You know, would I have gotten this Animus instead of a Forge? I think I should. But why didn't I in the Masterbot game? Just something about how the numbers worked out? I think so. I want to go back and look at the Masterbot game. This is killing me. So here was the turn where, yeah, this was turn 4, right? First of all, it's impossible for me to get a Bombarder any, like, I can't buy BBA this turn, right? Just can't be done. And I'm quite sure it wouldn't be correct to, like, cut drones on turn 3 in order to do that on turn 4. Would it even be possible? Yes. If I cut both of the drones and just built nothing on turn 3, I could BBA on turn 4. I don't think that's very good. So the real problem is that, like, I on turn 5 droned even more instead of buying tech that would have got me a Bombarder. But I still couldn't really do it? Maybe the problem was this Dynamo here. Like, I was thinking about DD here, wasn't I? Like, then I could BBA next turn. But I kind of thought, like, that another drone would be okay, and because I was kind of planning to buy a drone next turn, I was still set up for BBA, right? Like after I did this. And I said, oh, you know, I can get the first forge early. And then Masterbot's 2 ISOs put me in an awkward spot where, like, even if I do this, I can't really buy a Bombarder, can I? I don't think so. So I just got a splitter. And, like, how would Cylene's line have fared against Masterbot's line, I guess is what I want to know. Well, except, of course, the positions were reversed. Cylene and Masterbot were both player 2. I don't know, it just feels to me like I can't really get the Bombarder after these 2 ISOs come in. So, what could we have done to pressure her? I think the answer is not get these 2 dynamos. Remember, I didn't do that. I was kind of thinking like I wanted, like this was the turn, right, where I did this. I had in mind to build BA next turn. And suppose that Cylene behaves the same. She grabs an Animus, and I forget this? No. Maybe just this, and then TTBB. Yeah, that fits quite nicely. Against that, do I grab a splitter? I don't think so. It seems crazy. Like, the reason I got it was to defend against something coming up, like, soon. I just do this, and, like, now I have the first Bombarder, but she has some Tarsiers. And it seems like a reasonable trade to have made, doesn't it? It's kind of hard for her to even get a Bombarder here, right? And, you know, maybe we grab a Tarsier so we have, like, something. But it's like, she can't get a Bombarder right now, not very conveniently. She could, I don't know, Rhino Bombarder actually is maybe kind of good, actually. Maybe she does this. And it's sort of difficult to follow up with another Bombarder, but we can do it. And then it's, like, really hard, I think. I mean, I've said a number of times in this episode that X would be really hard, and then I was like, oh, but I guess you could still do X. But, like, isn't it pretty dang tough for her to get a second Bombarder here? Like, what does that even look like? This. And losing a Rhino on defense, right? I'm not saying this is the best line for her, but she could get a second Bombarder this way. It's legal, right? But we can follow up with more. And I don't know, a Sentinel? A Botch? Let's try Sentinel. And it's still, like, really hard. Everything's so hard here. But she can do it. Unbelievable. Can we still buy them? Is it even possible? No? Okay, well, given that we're not buying another one, let's get walls instead, I guess. I can't even buy a botch. I have to float all my red. But I have, like, Bombarder tempo coming, so maybe there's some. And she just gets another! How dare she? Man! Alright, Well, I guess we can get back to it. She can hold this. She doesn't have to click it. Makes it easier to grab another bombarder this way. I don't know. Botch? And it seems like we're just kind of losing here because the opponent has these 2 Tarsiers and we don't. We have 1. Oh, we have Sentinels? I don't know. But opponent has Rhinos? And she has a way better Bombarder train somehow. God, even when she's not here, she plays better than I do. Okay, we can still get more, I guess. It's worth a try. But we're not really killing much, right? Like... We did how much damage? 9. That's like a Bombarder and a Rhino. Whereas opponent's doing... Well... Not actually doing 14. Probably. Actually, have we just put on so little pressure that she can just click everything? Not quite. Yeah, she can Bombard her Rhino. She can actually deal the 14 and like put me under a lot of pressure. I can't bombard her Rhino, it doesn't defend. Force field botch. Also, of course, doesn't defend. It's the same amount of defense. Boy. So I do feel like the turn where we got second and third dynamo on the same turn was just too greedy. And we needed to get going on like some attackers sooner. But it looks like this might have been too soon for a bomber. We could have considered something like, I don't know. It's not like we could get Tarsier mech. We're a buck short of that, even with the click. So maybe you don't want the second blue yet, you know. Maybe you're supposed to go DDA here. Suppose that Silene tries a similar line. We get some Tarsiers, but we can't BB, right? And that's really important. Because if we don't, she's going to get first Bombarder. And, well, I don't know. I guess we have 2 Tarsiers coming. If she wants first Bombarder, she has to not absorb on a... But she can absorb on a Rhino, and that's probably fine, right? It's only 2 damage after all. So maybe we have to do something a little crazy like this to say, no, like, you really should not get Bombarder. She can, you know, do this, but she doesn't... I don't know, she'll get double wall with it, I guess, will be maybe fine for her. I mean, this spends the red, but I don't think Frostbooter is what you want in this set. I don't know, maybe it's fine, we'll try, see what happens. Look, she just gets Bombarder anyway. The disrespect. And it's not looking so great for me, is it? I don't know, maybe this Frostbooter will help somehow. Doesn't look good. Second Brooder and a Splitter. I don't know, this is probably better than that, right? Like, we're not attacking for a lot, but we're putting on a lot of pressure. Maybe she'll find it hard to, like, buy stuff. And, like, we do have a breach right now for one Tarsier. I think she would be happy for us to do this. It doesn't really accomplish that much, and the Frostbite's threatened to one day do a lot more, I hope. But we're just, like, kind of have not enough attackers, and we have a bunch of freeze that doesn't matter. I just don't really see this going our way. Like, we can breach for all the Tarsiers now, but I don't think that's enough. Well, actually, we could kill the Bombarder this way, I guess. Maybe she shouldn't let us do this. Bombarders are still a pretty good unit, though, right? I think she continues to offer a breach. Maybe force field one drone? So that if I want the breach, I have to freeze both of these two and kill a Bombarder. That might still be okay for me. So maybe she holds a drone, and now, like, it's actually defensive. Right, even this doesn't get in. I don't know. This Brooder, like, I'm not so good at defending against Brooders, so I'm probably making mistakes from her side. But we have a lot of threat right now. And probably because she misdefended earlier in my analysis, like, losing those Tarsiers. Kind of an issue. But the Brooder did a lot more than I thought it would. I imagined, like, when I was analyzing the set before the game, that, like, Bombarder is all about producing a lot of soak, right? And so I thought Brooder wouldn't matter that much. But if you get, like, a couple Brooders early before the Bombarder train is established, you start having a lot of trouble, where, like, if you click the Bombarders, you get breached, and if you hold them, you lose the Bombarders. Like, you get forked by Frostbite's freezing some other stuff to make you lose Bombarder instead. Huh. I don't know. I really honestly have no idea, like, what the outcome of this game should be. I predicted that the Bombarder player would beat the ISO player, but then when I tried it, I lost against Masterbot. And then I said, well, what about the Bombarder mirror? And it seemed like we lost that. And now we're looking at, like, where we kind of went for Brooders instead of Bombers, and that actually seems playable? Maybe? I don't know, like, what's our actual freeze right now? It's like, well, suppose opponent buys 2 walls. Then it's 6, 8, no, 10, I mean. 10 and 10, so that's 20. Like, this defends? But we're continuing to accumulate more Frostbites. On the other hand, she just got this Bombarder, right? So she's going to have a lot of defensive tempo suddenly saved up. I mean, and our freeze is worth a lot, right? It might even just be wrong for her to build more defenders, because they just let me freeze better. Right now we can spend 4 frostbites on 10. We have 2 frostbites left. We can get at least 4. That's 14, so we're threatening like 26. More if she builds any more walls. Right, suppose she built 2 walls. We'd be threatening 12 plus 4 is 16. 28. Well, this defends, actually. And that, I think, might be lights out for us, is that, like, we couldn't breach at the peak of Frostbite dominance, right? And now the fact that we don't have a lot of attackers or a good bombarder train is maybe a problem. On the other hand, like, opponent's only attacking for 7. So maybe it's okay. We can grab another bombarder. I don't know. You know, actually, I think opponent should try to keep the bombarders and lose walls, since the walls are worse against frostbites. And it's not like granularity is an issue. Yeah, this is a better defense. We have 6 frostbites. 9, 11, 15 freeze. We're threatening like 32. This defends. I think we're dead. I don't know. We have an okay amount of permanent attack, right? But we invested so much in these frostbites, and they're just not doing anything. That's not true. They made her build a bunch of walls a while ago. But they're dying off, and the walls are surviving, right? Maybe I'm overdoing it on the Sentinels. But I don't know, we're doing okay in terms of permanent attack this way. Oh, you know what? I've been using my frostbites wrong? On the turns when I chilled stuff. No, I guess she always had 2 bombarders lying around. This is the first turn when I see. So yeah, there's another reason it's better to lose walls. Q defense snuck ahead of me here and lost a bombarder I shouldn't have. Now it's harder for me to freeze like her only defending bombarder to deny that absorb. But anyway, we're threatening something like 9 and 4 is 13 freeze is 27. She's already defended. And maybe she starts trying to scale back up now while adding more permanent attack. Yeah. And now the attack totals are similar. The soak is like similar, but I have all these frostbites that aren't doing anything because opponent's pre-purchased soak is about to start coming in. Meanwhile, I'm also down on economy. So some of these sentinels maybe needed to be Tarsiers to have a chance. Right, she's managed to weather the storm here, so to speak. And our freeze is 7. So it's not inconsequential. But she's not really under that much pressure. Got him. No 4 absorb for you. And I guess you might as well click the box since the frostbite's gonna freeze it otherwise. Just buy out all the drones, I guess, since she's under so little pressure. I probably shouldn't allow a breach, huh? Alright, yeah. I somehow thought this was enough. But it's not, clearly. Six permanent attack. I don't know. We're doing similar on permanent attack, but she's just so far up on drones, right? Yeah. And she has all this defensive tempo from defending against the frostbites. I don't know, like, are we getting close here? Is something good happening? It feels to me like we're getting into a worse spot, not a better spot, but I'm not sure, I guess. We ran her out of bombarders. Yeah, let's start getting punches. Feels like about that time. Maybe I was too greedy as Silene in this analysis, bought too many drones? Because it felt like she was ahead for a long, long time, but we seem to be the first ones, like, threatening a serious breach. Right? I don't know, I guess she can defend. But we're still, like, kind of fine. And life is kind of tough for her. I guess she defends barely. And now I'm in a lot of trouble too. Well, it's not that bad. Getting to click the grenade mech is pretty cool. Out of walls, out of rhinos, 2 force fields. So, okay, obviously, as always when I do these, like, extended analyses, there were a lot of opportunities for me to make misplays for both sides, right? I basically played out, like, 20 turns worth of game. And who can say whether that's how things would have happened? But it does seem like there might be something in going Animus first instead of Forge first, as I did. Right. Silene thinks it's an Animus first set, and when I tried Forge first, I got clobbered. Animus first seems interesting. It leads to, like, making it hard for her to get the first Bombarder if you throw in this ISO as well. And then things are a little difficult for us, and we end up getting this weirdo Frostbrooder. Like, already there's kind of like a chaos theory thing going on, where, like, any small changes to what Silene did would make my, like, this line not totally relevant. But it seems like this puts on a lot of pressure. And it makes it hard for her to do what she wants. I don't know, and like... I probably should have frozen the Rhino here. Right, she maybe shouldn't have let me kill the Tarsier, all this stuff, but... I guess the problem was that both Exnor and I just waited too long to build attack. I was too focused on getting first Bombarder, and then didn't, like, actually do a good job of getting first Bombarder, but I cut early for tech, but I got blue. And then against the ISOs, it was kind of hard to get the Bombarder. And Exnor just, like, I think droned too much. Well, okay. Exnor was sort of committed to this ISO thing, which I'm not super convinced by. By the way, though, if you wanted to get ISOs, I think you should see that, like, what is opponent going to do that's going to beat you, right? Bombarders is the answer. And she's set up very carefully to have 18 bucks this turn. You know she's spending 8 on red stuff. And so 18 is, like, kind of conspicuous, right? It's 10 bucks. You suspect she wants to get double forge. She didn't have to float this 2 gold, right? She could have cut the drone and gotten a dynamo instead if she was interested in more econ and less tech, right? She could have done this. Now, she can't BB this turn anymore. We did... What did we do? This, right. She can't still buy, like, 2 Tarsiers and 2 Forges. But she could buy 1. Like, this would be a more econ-y line that she could have played for, right? It's not totally crazy. And the fact that she hasn't done it... says, like, she wants to have these 18 bucks, and there's something conspicuous that costs 18, and it's BBTT. And so, I think if your idea is to get ISOs, you should buy some here. Where she can't really get a Bombarder so easily against that. Like, she has to Rhino Force Field. It's not the end of the world, but she's not happy about it. I don't know, maybe she is. Maybe she's happy we just got 2 ISOs, right? Yeah, maybe these 2 ISOs are not actually that amazing, because they don't do that much. They're just a tiny bit awkward for her, and I can't figure out what else we're supposed to do with the turn. Right? Like, we don't want ISOs, we don't want, I don't know, this? Seems pretty dumb. Right, and this is her defending. And I don't know, buy a lot of ISOs and the force field? Doesn't seem great to get breached for 2 drones already. Get rid of all the drones? Okay, sure. Yeah, she probably kills the dynamo, right? And we grab a bunch more of these. No, they're off sync. Something like this. Who knows? It's like kind of hard, isn't it? I don't know. Our actual freeze threat is 6, 10, 12, 21. So this doesn't defend for her, which is nice for us. And we can't kill the Bombarder again, can we? We can freeze the Bomber and get a Tarsier, but we can't kill the Bombarder, which is kind of funny. I don't know. Let's suppose this is what she does. She allows the breach. That would not be good, right? She does this. That doesn't seem good either. Yeah, let's get the Rhino. A small breach. So, like, this is... We can't quite get the Bomber this way, right? So, instead, we go in and we get a Tarsier. And add on all the ISOs. I guess, yeah, of course, she clicks another one, right? Sure. And gets another Bombarder to defend with, and a Sentinel, maybe? It might be greedy. Maybe it should just be NGs, I don't know. You know, I just want to hit her with all of these. I mean, okay, she has these Bombarders lying around, but they're big, juicy targets, aren't they? And our freeze threat is 8, 14... 18 plus 4. Like, this is a shitload of freeze. That's the units you want to use for this, right? It's so much. Even if she builds walls, like... We're attacking for 14 and she has 6 defense. We have so much freeze, it's easier to count the defense that isn't being frozen. We get through the Tarsier, we get a bunch of drones, probably? Like... Even this, we get to 2 Tarsiers. And no Absorb. So she kind of has to do this to defend, right? And that's a... Whoa, did I, like... Why is... Huh. The graphics are lagging. Like, I'm moving my mouse around a lot faster than this. I don't know. You guys can see the cursor, right? Yeah. Is it just... Now, it's when I hold shift. As I hold shift, whenever I pass over a stack, it seems like, maybe... The thing gets further and further behind me. I don't know. Weird. Anyway, we can do this. Oh, it still doesn't defend? I thought it did. Yikes. And then we just win by a landslide, right? Well, I don't know. Do we? She has 1 permanent attack, but boy, she does have a lot of defensive tempo saved up. I guess it's possible she could still be winning this. I don't think so. I think she's losing. Should I have clicked this for something? I guess a conduit's fine. She's defended here. I don't know. This is going to be the last time she has an easy defense, but she is defended. I'm not convinced that this line is going to work out for her. So once again, I played a fairly long game, you know, making guesses at what each player might do. But I feel like actually the ISO line that you wanted to play is totally playable, but you have to get the ISOs fast enough that it's hard for her to get the Bombarder, just like Masterbot did against me. She can eventually, like, land a Bombarder or two, but then you go nuts with the Nevos, right? And it's just unbearable for her, I think. So I think that would be a pretty good line. There were some other lines in there that I tried. I don't remember them anymore. It seemed okay. Right, getting an Animus first to get 2 Tarsiers and then like a Frost Brooder. Believe it or not, we got 2 Frost Brooders and that seemed kind of okay. I think this is actually a more convincing line. I just underestimated the power of these 3 green units, which look like they make up a strategy, but I didn't think it would be a good enough one to deal with Bombarder. Although, you know, from the Masterbot game and this last analysis, it looks like it might. Anyway, kind of a long analysis today. A lot to go through in that game. I don't know, has my game crashed? Yeah, it has. Look at that. No, we're back. Okay. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.